Will WrestleMania 37 be good? Should you be excited for the show of shows this year? I'm about to answer that question for you right now here on SCW, here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave any comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. WrestleMania at the time of recording has 9 matches currently set. And of course we have the brand new main event announced on SmackDown last night between Roman Reigns, Edge and Daniel Bryan for the Universal Championship. It's starting to look very organised on the SmackDown side. Raw is coming together. Perhaps was a bit of a panic button this past week, but looking overall, we are lacking perhaps some of those part-timers that we used to seeing, those legends, if you will. We've not got Goldbergs, Brock Lesnar's, Undertaker's, John Cena's this year. But I tell you what, I do feel we should start getting excited for this show because that is a great opportunity for new stars to be born. Now, I did mention that triple threat main event, and of course, Roman is the now, the other two perhaps coming towards the latter stages of their career. But when you look through this card, WrestleMania is always a chance where casuals come in for the night and they can connect with stars that can be the stars of tomorrow. We're kind of in a phase, in my opinion, it's like the new generation right now. Picture yourself back in 1996, a time capsule if you will. We've got the Ringmaster that was later to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. We've got Rocky Maivia, which later on was The Rock. We've kind of got characters that are there, stars in the making that just haven't been put to the pinnacle. You know, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, which would later become Triple H. We just need to find the things that make those stars click because the talent pool in WWE right now is there. There's a lot of stars to be made. It's just getting them to that next level and just managing to get them to connect with a casual audience. And for me, the blame with that right now would have to go on creative. But looking at WrestleMania itself, this is a great platform and a great place that you can start making some of those stars. And for me, WrestleMania, look at it on the SmackDown side, I said there, they have been quite organised and they've got quite good matches put together. I mean, you look at Cesaro and Seth Rollins, I think that's a really well told story. The fact that Cesaro wasted potential, that's the perfect example of building a new star on this show. It is important. If Cesaro can pick up the victory over someone that's arguably a household name in Seth Rollins, that can take him to the next level. You've got the Intercontinental Championship of Big E and Apollo Crews, two up and coming stars right now. And yes, the finish of Fastlane wasn't amazing, but you know that that was just to carry things over here to WrestleMania. And I do believe these two will have a great match on the show of shows. We've got Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, and you look through these two guys' careers, the journey they've had to go from Ring of Honor to NXT to the main roster. They finally have a WrestleMania match. This is going to be awesome to see how it's been put together. I'm loving Sami's documentary as well. That's been a fun storyline put together. And him versus Kevin Owens, like I said, they have so much history together. They've had great matches and great chemistry when they've been in the ring together. I think a WrestleMania match, just really, it's the perfect place for these two to finally finish off that rivalry, and I think it'll mean so much to them to honestly feel that that could be a match that we don't expect it to, but could really steal the show. As well, let's talk about then, Daniel Bryan's been added to the triple threat match now. Is this a good idea? In my opinion, yes. Roman Reigns versus Edge was great on paper, was the match I wanted to see, but we didn't get the storyline that I was expecting. I thought we were going to get the feel-good comeback story for Edge. You know, it's 10 years to the day that he would actually have had to retire and relinquish the World Heavyweight Championship, that he would win it back. That still could happen. That still may not be a change, but instead of doing it as the feel-good story, Edge is going back into that opportunist role. That heel turn has sort of been brewing and coming, and Edge has snapped on the last couple of shows using steel chairs on Roman Reigns and on Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's been included in this storyline since the Elimination Chamber. In fact, he's taken a lot of the momentum away from Roman Reigns and Edge. So for me, it makes sense that Daniel Bryan is part of this match, and as a triple threat, I think there is star power of this match. I mean, it's almost like a throwback to WrestleMania 30 with the way that Daniel Bryan has been included in this match. The Yes movement feels almost as strong as it was back then. Edge as well, like I say, have that WrestleMania main event. As the opportunist, I quite like it as well. I think Edge does do better work as a heel. And Roman, well, Roman is Roman. Roman is the star of the show right now. But the beautiful part of a triple threat is Roman can lose that championship without being pinned or submitted. We could have a title change here and keeping Roman just as strong without actually being in defeat. And Roman could do fresh things after WrestleMania, whether it's chasing that championship again, maybe just having a storyline without the championship and doing something completely different on the show. It would be interesting to see how that dynamic would play out. So for me, this has become all of a sudden a match that I'm really glad has been put together, because for weeks I was confused why Daniel Bryan would have to be thrown into the mix, but now we know it's going to go to that triple threat. it just makes a lot more sense. Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, this last couple of shows really starting to take a turn as well. Reginald seems completely out of the storyline. Sasha Banks has gone full on heel, very cocky and arrogant as well. Bianca Belair seeming strong as well. She is not going to be denied on WrestleMania, and I'm looking forward to the match. I think despite the build of this match for me has not been the best, I think come showtime and these two in the ring, it's going to be a magical WrestleMania moment. I really think these two ladies are going to put on one of the best matches of the weekend. But should it main event night one? Let's touch on that topic very quickly, because it's been a big topic in social media this week, on Twitter especially. Should it be Sasha versus Bianca main eventing night one, or should it be from the Raw side, the WWE Championship, Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre? Now arguably I won't lose sleep either way, but I do think that the ladies should be the one in the main event position. I mean, Bianca Belair, she won the Royal Rumble, so in my belief, a Rumble winner should main event WrestleMania. That seems like the right way to go. Plus, we've only had one women's main event previously, which of course was at WrestleMania 35. Neither of these two ladies were involved in that. I do think that it's going to be worthy when this match goes on. So for me, I would prefer to see that as the main event show. But I mean, like I say, Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley will be a fantastic match. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Bobby Lashley, finally WWE Champion, finally has an opportunity himself to have a WrestleMania main event. The guy has been in the business for 16 years. Yes, Drew had his moment last year, but it wasn't in front of fans. It will be great to see Drew get that moment in front of fans. So let's see how it's going to play out. But these two against one another, two of the best booked superstars alongside Roman Reigns in the last 12 months. Bobby Lashley has only lost one singles match pinned in I think since Backlash last year, and that was to Riddle, and it was a fluke roll-up the way it happened at the time, and then Riddle was completely destroyed by Lashley afterwards. So Lashley's had strong momentum since, you know, the Royal Rumble and since that moment, and now of course becoming WWE Champion. Him against Drew, I really think it's going to be an awesome match come WrestleMania. There are other great matches on there as well. Celebrity involvement from Bad Bunny against The Miz. That'll be interesting to see on night one. It's a shame we don't have the tag team match as expected, originally planned. I thought it was going to be Bad Bunny and Damian Priest against The Miz and John Morrison. But John Morrison looks to have a bit of a back injury right now. Seems to not make him stop doing music videos and making appearances in WWE. But perhaps right now probably can't take the bump. So it's a shame, because Damian Priest has so much to gain from this experience. But I do think he'll still get good exposure, because Bad Bunny has been amazing in his role being the celebrity coming to WWE, seems to take it all very seriously, seems to be so pleased to be there, wants to be involved in every moment, and everything that Bad Bunny does in WWE is attracting new eyes to the product. I mean, his merch has been selling extremely well. His YouTube videos that of course involve with WWE are usually the most popular, and Damian Priest has been in and around each and one of those segments. So despite the fact we're not getting a tag team match as expected, Bad Bunny has been training for this moment. I think it's going to be fun to see how this match is going to play out. The Miz won't actually be harmed in defeat either should he lose this match, which we expect he probably would. So for me, all in all, this should be quite fun the way it's going to play out. I think it's a fun filler match that's been thrown in for WrestleMania. Certainly not filler is Randy Orton and The Fiend. This one has been personal, it's been brewing up for a long time. Yes, I've said many a time that the supernatural stuff, not everything really connects with me. Some of it feels a little bit hokey in places, the way it's put together, but this rivalry has been personal. It has been building since TLC, in fact before, and now of course it's going to be culminating at WrestleMania, and of course there's still time for a stipulation to be thrown involved also. And let's not forget Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. Yes, it's been a bad booked storyline. I do think it could have been better. I did a video of how I think it should have been booked, but I think the match itself, when it comes along, Braun Strowman is good in the ring, and let's be fair, Shane McMahon always does a crazy stunt. It's going to be fun to see. Braun can pick the stipulation. I certainly hope it'll be a steel cage match, because that way Shane can't escape. He's also not tied up to Braun Strowman. He can still do some fun, crazy skit, you know, if he jumps off the top of the cage, for example. I think that would be quite a fun stipulation if that was to be brought in. So there's still things to look forward to this, even if perhaps the story itself hasn't been so great. And last but certainly by no means least is the Raw Women's Championship, Asuka against Rhea Ripley. Some would argue that Rhea Ripley coming in on what's meant to be night one of her main roster debut to get straight away to the WrestleMania match is a bad thing, but I kind of let WWE off with this just a little bit, because the plans were Asuka Charlotte Flair, then it was Charlotte Flair Lacey Evans, then it changed back to Asuka Charlotte Flair, and of course now, well, Lacey Evans has been pregnant, which WWE couldn't really plan for. Charlotte Flair got COVID, so that took her out as well. So WWE have had to kind of make a new plan on the fly. You could argue, well, Rhea Ripley came second in the Royal Rumble. She should be in that position, and maybe she should have just been called up straight afterwards. What were WWE waiting around for so long? She could have built herself up as a #1 contender anyway, winning matches. It would have made a lot of sense, and I do agree with those people. But at the same time, it does feel special that Rhea Ripley is in this position. It's a dream match to watch Asuka against Rhea Ripley. My only critique of the whole thing was the way the match was put together on Raw. I would have liked to have seen Rhea Ripley actually come out and say that, you know, the Raymond James Stadium was supposed to be her moment last year when she was supposed to take on Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 36. It ended up being in the Performance Center, and, you know, she feels that she needs WrestleMania redemption and she needs to be in the Raymond James Stadium. I think that would have been a more heartfelt story, but I am also questioning if Rhea Ripley at the moment is going to be a babyface on the main roster, because the way she came up and the way it was done, I don't know, I just had a bit of vibes feeling myself that she could go actually to the heel side of things. We'll have to wait and see, and hopefully it'll play out further in the next couple of weeks leading into WrestleMania. But I mean, things in some places on the Raw side feel a bit messy, feel a bit last minute. SmackDown for me does feel more organised, but if you look at the card put together, it looks pretty darn good. And if you look back to WrestleMania 31, I remember that WrestleMania not really being necessarily the best built WrestleMania of all time, but it is seen fondly as one of the best WrestleManias in the last few years. So for me personally, I turn around and say that I think on the night, I think everything is going to be alright, and we do expect more matches to currently still be announced for WrestleMania. Of course, there's one that I've not even mentioned very quickly before I leave you, which is the New Day against AJ Styles and Omos for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Now, Omos has not even competed in a WWE ring. Now, I think that could be part of the benefit right now, because I don't know how seasoned and how ready Omos is to be in a WWE ring, but him and AJ as a team, I think could be quite fun. The dynamic seems to be already there. The interaction they had with the New Day this week of Raw was quite amusing, with how they don't know one another that well. But at the same time, you look at it and say that as a match, AJ Styles will protect Omos, and if they can have that as a direction of a storyline going into, I don't know, the early part of the summer, I think could be quite fun until Omos is ready to break away from AJ Styles and either be a monster heel on his own or even be a monster babyface, because AJ, you know, he's that cocky and arrogant, maybe thinks he's the star of the team. At one point, he's going to push the giant too far. So that could be quite a fun storyline to see how it's going to progress further down the line. And if there's interest in how Omos will actually be in the ring, I certainly have that. I'm intrigued to see how that is going to play out. I do think we will get the SmackDown Tag Team Championships added as well. I have said this previously, I think it'll be a fatal 4-way when it goes down. I'd like to see the Mysterios actually walk away as the Tag Team Champions, just because of that WrestleMania moment, the father and son, the feel-good moment. That's what WrestleMania is all about, so I hope that that is going to thrown together. And of course, there still is time to throw another 1 or 2 matches together as we get towards the show of shows, depending on how late WWE wants to leave things. But as I said, looking at that card overall, I think it's going to be good on the night. I really do. I think it's looking like a very solid show, and hopefully WWE will deliver. The thing that always worries me more than anything, it's not the talent in the ring, it's the creative. And I think that's where I worry most, because WWE sometimes does have this habit of throwing a few stinkers here and there of ideas of how to finish matches. But I do know that with the talent pool that we've got, the potential that is there, I really think this WrestleMania does have a lot of hope. So to actually finish off this video today, I say yes, WrestleMania will be good, and yes, I do think you should get excited for it, because let's not forget, it's over 2 nights as well. It's not going to be a straight out 8-hour show, which, let's be fair, for my time zone is an absolute nightmare. But of course, 2 nights in a row technically still has that, but at the same time, 2, 3 to 4 hour shows certainly feels a lot more, you know, it's a lot more appealing, because you've got a break in the middle of there. You can sort of watch those few hours, rest off, get ready for the next day, and you come back in for more WrestleMania. 2 sometimes is better than 1, and right here I think with WrestleMania it certainly does show that. But as minor things, just before I leave, I want to see Bayley have a match at WrestleMania. WWE, please sort that out. She's a star and she deserves a WrestleMania match. I would like to see that. But who would you like to see her face? Let me know in the comments below right now. But that's all from me anyway for this particular video. I've given my opinions. I want to know if you think WrestleMania will be good. Is it a show we should be excited for? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Either way, let me know in the comments. I can't wait to interact with you. I will be on Jonesy Chats Wrestling later today for the SmackDown review, so go over if you want my thoughts, SmackDown thoughts. And as well as that, I'm going to be on Rated R for Wrestling, and we talk about WrestleManias, of whether, you know, something will be good or not. I'm going to be reviewing WrestleMania 9 on that show, and let me just give you a quick spoiler. It's not one of the better WrestleManias, so if we're comparing that to this, I have a lot more higher hopes on WrestleMania 37. But that's all from me. Thank you for watching. Have yourselves a great day. Go and check out those those two channels. Give them a sub as well while you're at it, because they've got great content on both of them. I'll be back with more videos on the weekend as well. In fact, Ask SCW, the Q&A will be coming tomorrow, and next week, NXT Stand and Deliver. That's right, the NXT TakeOver predictions will be coming on the channel, and there may just be another surprise video or two on the way also. We are now full gear on the road to WrestleMania, and hopefully the road to 1,000 subscribers. Would love to hit the milestone, but I need you guys and girls. Your support really does help grow the channel. It helps to go a long way, so please spread the word of SCW. Let the wrestling community know that SCW is here. But that's all for me. Thank you for watching. Take care. Have yourselves a great day. You've been watching SCW here on YouTube.